Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loco. Welcome to Cruise Night Live. It's the live show that we have on Tuesday, and Cruise Day sounds like Tuesday, so that's how we got here. Look, I'm back. I'm back, back in the New York groove. Shout out Ace. I'm back from the great Northeast. I'm back from my fall foliage cruise. And I'm here to talk about it. I'm here to talk about everything going on in cruising. I'm here to answer your cruising questions. If you do have a question, just type the word question in front of it in capital letters. That way, when I look over at the chat, I can see it. I'm happy to talk about my cruise last week on the Enchanted Princess. It was a wonderful cruise with the Loca fam. We traveled with 60 people. We had a fantastic meet and greet, dinner every night, hanging out on the ship, and we had a fantastic 2-hour private karaoke party where everybody got down. I'll admit it. Somebody did sing "Sweet Caroline." Ba ba ba. It was good, and glad to be here. If you guys could do me a solid and hit the like button. The thing I do want to open the show with, though, is I'm curious who's traveled the furthest to be here. You know how they say that when you're at a show. Hey, who's traveled the furthest? But where are you guys from? You can just say the country, or if you're in the U.S., you can say the state. But who's the furthest away? I think we have some Australians in here. I don't know if we have any Hooligans in here or Haligonians, but I had a good time in Halifax. But what's up, everybody? I'm glad to be here. The Jenny B, her sister's in from New York City, from Queens, really. There's a lot I could talk about, honestly. Flew JetBlue for the first time, and we said in the first few rows, that has a name, even more, almost like Nevermore. If it was Edgar Allan Poe Airlines, it would be Nevermore. But since it's JetBlue, it was even more, and it was cool. So we had a lot of leg room. I wish I drank because everybody that was in Evermore got 3 alcoholic beverages on the plane, which that seems amazing if you're somebody that's into that. But I would fly JetBlue again. I just want to say that. We were very fortunate. We were not too impacted by the shutdown. We did fly out of Tampa, and when we boarded, everything went smooth as we boarded. But when we were getting ready to take off, the captain came on board and said, of taxiing aircraft. We only have one runway open because we've had air traffic controller call outs, and we may be on this taxiway for a long time, and we immediately took off. So it was weird. I guess something happened between the captain making that announcement and then him hanging up the little microphone, because immediately we took off. That was good. And then when we flew out of Newark, we flew from Tampa to Newark. We took a cab to the Ameritania right down on Broadway and 54th. That was a cool place to stay. And then when we came back, we took a cab from Newark to the airport. I do want to talk about transportation from the cruise ship, especially in New York, how challenging that is financially. And then we got delayed. So travel was good, but our plane got delayed coming from Orlando to Newark to pick us up. So we had about an hour and a half delay. But other than that, we just sat in the airport. There was a Lego store in the airport, which was cool. And we played Wingspan, and we looked at each other, and it was perfect. It was perfect, fine. So I talked about this in a video before, and I think it's good to mention at the top. What I found, there were there's probably more than 3 modes of transportation, but I tracked 3 modes of transportation leaving the cruise ship in leaving the cruise ship in Brooklyn to get to the airport in Newark. Now, option number 1 was, and you had to sign up for this in the middle of the week. We thought about it, but we decided we wanted to have our own ride, our own car. They have that transfer service that the cruise line offers most of the time from the cruise ship to the airport, and Princess did offer transfer service to the major airports around New York. So you could have went to LaGuardia, JFK. You could also have went to Newark. $54 per person. So you would have boarded a bus. They would have put your luggage on the bus. They would have driven you to the airport and dropped you off. That's one option. So that would have cost us $108. When we got off of the cruise ship, there was a cab stand right there with all these cabs lined up. And for us, when we get off a cruise ship, we're just ready to get the heck out of there. So we said, okay, we could call an Uber and wait for an Uber, or we could get right in a cab. So we got in the cab, and as soon as we got in the cab, we said, hey, we're going to Newark to the airport. And the guy said, well, that's going to be $170. Do you agree to that? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess that's what it is. And then a little screen came up in the back of the cab and we had to agree to it. But as we were leaving, I pulled up my phone to see what the Uber rate was for an Uber XL, which is a little bit of a bigger car. The Uber XL was $119. So we were already 119 to 170. We're already $51 difference for the cab, but that's okay because we were glad to get in the cab and go. Now, what I did not realize for the cab was that every time we participated in a toll, so we had to go over the Verrazano Bridge, we went over the Goethals Bridge, I believe, and then we got on the New Jersey Turnpike. Every time we did one of those things, the toll was on us. And so by the time we got to the airport and tipped out the driver, it was $250 for the cab. And as I saw the tolls start to rack up on the cab, I Googled to see what Uber does, and Uber would also charge you for the tolls. So I still feel like it would only have been and I would have tipped the Uber driver. So I still feel like it was only a $50 difference between the Uber and the taxi. But the winner, from a financial perspective, because it was just $54 flat for the shuttle service from the cruise line, that's the winner, because I think they would have eaten the toll, and they would just paid it once for a whole busload of people. So keep that in mind. Obviously, New York's an expensive place to get in and out of because of the bridges and the tolls and all that stuff. So that may not be true at a smaller cruise port or a Port Canaveral or something like that. But even when I was in Southampton in the UK, I took a shuttle from Heathrow to Southampton and vice versa, Southampton back to Heathrow, and that worked out pretty well. So I'm going to continue to stand by the cruise line shuttle being the most economical in most situations. But yeah, there's that. Okay, let me answer some of these questions. Yoya DeFore says about airfare. How do you book when flying international, economy, premium, economy, business, first class? Recommendations on booking. So for me, because I'm a big fatty boom batty, sometimes I have to pay extra to I have to get at least, sometimes I can't always afford the business class because it's expensive. The one time that I went to Australia, I paid $9,800 for the laydown seat round trip. $9,800. Now, for me, that works out okay. It's a business expense. I'd been invited there by Holland America, so the rest of it was paid for, at least the cruise and all that. That's the most expensive flight I've ever booked. A few times where I've flown to London, Virgin has like economy plus or something that's a couple levels lower than the business class, and I can fit in those seats okay. The one time that I went to China, I really didn't have any money, but I booked 2 economy seats round trip to China. I think that only cost me about $1,800. So it's going to depend on your budget and how comfortable you are for long flights in economy. I would say that some of those flights are long and it's tough, but that's something I deal with. There you go. Lynn says, question, what is a fun excursion to do in St. Thomas and Tortola? We've never been to the Caribbean. I don't remember specifically Tortola, but what I like to do in St. Thomas, there's a mountaintop gift shop and banana daiquiri place that's pretty famous. A lot of times you can get an excursion that goes up there, or you can just come off of the cruise ship and go to the tourism board there and get a little tour that goes up there. The nice thing is, I don't really care about the banana daiquiri, but there's an overlook that you can go out and you can see all of the Virgin Islands. So there's a map there. That's kind of cool. Plus they drive you around the island. But if you want to stay closer to the port, you can walk and take a tram up top of a mountain there. You can see the cruise ships. Beautiful to see the cruise ships that way. There's also shopping, restaurants, that kind of thing. There's a lot of walkable stuff around the port in St. Thomas. St. Thomas, isn't that where Magens Bay is also? I feel like I've done several excursions there. Some of the most famous beaches in the world, St. Thomas. Magens Bay is one of them, a great place for a beach day. I feel like I've seen wildlife in St. Thomas also. But those are the ones that come to mind. Oh, yeah. Who's the furthest away? So David is 9,000 miles away. What country is that? Welcome, new channel members. Question, is there anything special we need to know about MSC before we go? It's a little different because it's a privately held company. They have some different policies. On the MSC World America, they had switched to an e-muster process. That's the first MSC cruise ship I was on after the restart of cruising that you didn't have to like go down the stairs and go to a muster station. So hopefully that's the way they're going. It's a little different. Everything's going to be slightly different, but familiar at the same time. I don't know if there's any call outs for, things to be on the lookout for. Gay is further. She's in Australia. 9,134 miles. How about that? Question: Did you get a fancy Sunday on Enchanted Princess? Hello from Blind River, Ontario, Canada. Fred Tucker. I don't know what a fancy Sunday was. Our first embarkation day was Saturday. Our Sunday, it could have been dress up night. We got lobster on the last night though. That was a question whether we were going to have a lobster dinner, and that was on Friday night. No, it was on Thursday night actually. Daniel says, what is your most popular video? By views, it is 10 mistakes first-time cruisers make. I think we made that back in, I don't know. I think we made that back in 2017, 2018. I think that's the only video I have that has over 1 million views. Brandon J, I need a donaire. Any ideas, lol? Yeah, go to Halifax. I mean, the story that I got from that Haligonian Dave is that the Greeks brought gyro to Halifax, and maybe it didn't do so well, so they came up with this idea. They made this garlic sauce. It's like garlic, condensed milk, a little bit of sugar, and serve it with onions and tomatoes, and that's the birth of the donaire. So it's good. I love that sauce. I'm going to go out and say that. So I've had donaire and a pita. People watch that video and they're like, "Oh, you're supposed to have donaire and a pita." I did that the first time I went to Halifax, so I wanted to try some other donaire meat delivery methods. And I think my favorite is the egg roll. So that egg roll is just filled with donaire meat. And Jenny B said that the donaire meat doesn't have any lamb in it; that it's just beef. So that would be different than a traditional gyro. But you just take that egg roll and you dip it in the sauce. It was so good. It was so good. Ice cream sundae. I think they had ice cream sundae. I don't know. I didn't get one if they had. Oh, well, I mean, they had those big desserts, if that's what you're talking about. I didn't get that either. Benny is in the house. Benny and Judy. He's made it all the way back to Punta Gorda in Florida. Had a great time with Benny. If you ever, everybody should just be friends with Benny. He's a nice guy and an interesting person. So see if you can friend him here on YouTube, and then you'll be better off for it. Question from Julian: we are doing an Alaska cruise next year, leaving from Seattle. Any advice where to stay near the cruise port and things to do before the cruise? Cheers from Australia. So there is a Marriott. I don't know if you're going on NCL. This works out really good. There's a Marriott near Pier 66. I've stayed there before. That's nice. We stayed at some fancy hotel that the Beatles stayed at right on the water, and I always forget the name of it. I didn't really like it, but it was unique, but it was expensive. And then for less, if you're coming from Australia, you should stay on the water and do stuff around the water. Go to the Space Needle, go to the museums, do all that stuff there. Go to the public market, all of that. But anybody else that isn't coming from halfway around the world, if you want a less expensive place to stay out by the airport. We stayed at a Fairfield, and that was pretty inexpensive. But yeah, that Marriott at Pier 66 was really nice. Really nice. Benny was an awesome singer. We had such a good time doing the karaoke. Let's see, Dana, if I need to work while on my cruise, will my VPN work with Starlink using premium internet package? This will be on the Carnival Celebration. I would say on Carnival, it's not going to work. So what I've found is the cruise lines are really restrictive about the ports that they allow to work. And so I've had some hit or miss usage of VPN. Most corporate VPNs I've never seen work on a cruise ship. Some of the PIA VPN that I've used, I believe I've had it work on Holland and Princess. I've never had it work on Carnival. So that's the frustrating thing, because I'm a big advocate of keeping my data safe, and I use it, wherever I'm at. When I even use it at home, I've got it running here. But on a cruise ship, sometimes they block it. So that's the frustrating thing. Sometimes it'll work. Sometimes you got to turn it off. I'm going to say your corporate VPN is not going to work at all. Carnival blocks the VPNs. They block Wi-Fi calling. Like on our iPhones, we can usually do Wi-Fi calling on most cruise lines, but not not Carnival. Chris says he knows that VPN doesn't work on Royal, and I just don't understand why they don't let the Edgewater. Thank you, Janet. That's it. Doug with a recommendation: the Coast Hotel in Seattle. Jenny had a family meeting tonight. Her sister is in from Long Island. So I did mention that on the show today, David. So I'm assuming you didn't watch my video. That makes me sad. Makes me sad. James has got 107 days until Vision of the Seas. Any tips for Charleston, South Carolina? I know nothing about Charleston, South Carolina. I'm kind of excited. Our group cruise, the only group cruise that we have left, leaving from Philadelphia in April. It's the La Lita Loca Bermuda Triangle group cruise, going to Bermuda, then to Charleston, South Carolina, and then back to Philly. So after April, which probably doesn't help you, James. I will know more about Charleston. Anybody know anything about Charleston? What do you think? Eileen from Long Island. What part of Long Island, Eileen? Jenny's from Wantagh. Oh, the time difference, David. Does MSC allow Wi-Fi calling? So I think Jenny and I evolved to using WhatsApp, and WhatsApp seems to work on most things, and that's what we use for voice. But I don't know if regular Apple Wi-Fi works on MSC. Eileen's from Massapequa. I miscredited Jenny being from Massapequa the other day, and I was like, oh, I thought you were one of the Baldwins. Question from Gay. The real question is, what percentage of the departing people will return from Bermuda? That's right. If we disappear, wouldn't that be a great end to our story, right? Jenny B and I went missing in the Bermuda Triangle. That would be wild. Traveling Fool said, don't do Pat's or Geno's cheesesteaks. All I know is I'm not eating Cheese Whiz on anything. My friend Mike Gormley, who's from that area, is like, it ain't a real cheesesteak unless you eat Cheese Whiz. But I feel like Cheese Whiz is an abomination that was put into this world to corrupt our hearts and minds. That's what I think. Project Pappy Jack says, question, going on Enchantment next week, what can you tell me about the ferry that goes from Cozumel over to the mainland? Smooth. We're taking a royal excursion to the Mole and Mezcal tour. What I've heard about that is it's not smooth. I've never taken it, but I think it has a nickname that has puke in it or something like that. I don't think it's smooth. So if you get seasick, be wary. Has anybody ever taken the ferry from Cozumel to the mainland, and was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. Cheese Whiz is for the Ritz. That's funny. Okay, most of the time I don't like artificial cheese. I don't like Cheese Whiz. I'm hit or miss on Velveeta. Like if you make that like sausage and rotel with Velveeta, I can live with that. I can use that as a dip. But I do love cheese in a can. I love that stuff. Christine Simpson said, what is the Carnival legend like? It's like a cruise ship, Christine. Okay. No, I've never been on it. I feel like I've been on a sister of that, but I've never been on the legend. Anybody? Anyone? Ron Clark said the ferry is fun. Well, what does that mean, Ron? Is it bumpy? We want to know if the waters are choppy on that ferry. Oh, there we go. Greg Brown coming in with that ferry from Cozumel is very rough. Coaches, cruises, and beyond. Cozumel ferry is very rough. Yeah, so I feel like that's what I heard. So plan accordingly. Cruising with Chris M. We got to quit talking about this. Talking about the Royal Beach Club in your video today, the Comic-Con cruise offers you to exskirt when they go to Nashville. The problem is I'm taking 9 other people that I basically pay for whenever we're all together. So I don't know. That seems like that could be an expensive day. Maybe a day that those 9 people would remember, but what is that? Like, somebody said they paid $380 for 2 people with the ultimate drink package. So what's that? $190 per. So for 10 of us, that would be almost $2,000 to go over there. It would be amazing, right? It'd be a cool day, but 2 G's, man. I don't know. All right, good. Pappy Jack doesn't normally get seasick. There you go. Let's see. Ken says, "Do you have any more pictures of the menu?" I think I posted the menu most nights, so make sure. I don't promote it too often, but if you guys do use Facebook, when I'm on a cruise, most nights I'm posting menus. A couple times a day, I'll try to post pictures of the cruise ship. Because we were so engaged with the group and everything that was going on, I did not film a ship tour. The only videos I made really from that cruise were the two excursions in Canada. So, but there are pictures of the ship on the Facebook group, or not Facebook group, but just regular Facebook page for us, La Lido Loca. Follow us over there. But I think there are some more menus there than what you've just seen. Yeah, Jenny said maybe the kids can take us. That's right. I guess that's one thing we could say is like, look, we did purchase this cruise. Do you guys want to shell out some coin to go to the beach? I don't know. What else is on that stop? Is that the Nassau? I don't know where else we're going. Question from Skyhawk7. We are retired and have the luxury of time. Are there any great deals of last minute bookings to fill staterooms? We love your channel, and you and Jenny B are beautiful, genuine people. Thank you so much. I was on Princess's website the other day looking for stuff, and I did see that they had a drop down called last minute deals. Now, I don't know if that's true across all cruise ships. I have booked cruises like with just a week to go. So they are out there. I don't know if you're necessarily getting deals, but really the best way to go about it, well, a couple ways. Make sure that you're on the email list of your favorite cruise line. Make sure that way and check your email frequently, because sometimes you'll get some deals come in that way. Maybe have a travel agent that can tell you of last minute deals and be on their mailing list. And then you could just good old, if you got some time, just jump on a website and see if there's any last minute deals. I think there's like legends, right? Of you used to be able to almost a couple days before a cruise get on super cheap, but I don't know how true that is anymore. Beermaster, thank you for the proclamation of the super sticker. Beermaster making the claim that he's the number one fan, and I say you are. You've claimed it. You've named it. You've claimed it. You are the number one fan right now, Beermaster. Unless somebody tries to usurp you. Usurp. Sharon McCabe driving to Tampa for Royal Caribbean cruise. How do we park? Where do we park? Do you know how much valet is? I heard Jenny say use valet. I don't remember what the price is. It's worth checking. For us, it always is worth it because you can drop your car right at the place where you walk in the cruise terminal, and they have it waiting there for you when you get off the ship. I don't know how much it costs, but that's worth it to me. There are other places to park. You can park at the park. There's parking right there at the port, which would be cheaper than the valet. And then there are services in Tampa where you can park offsite and they will shuttle you in. I guess that the valet would be what I would do. That's true, Gammy. The kids never take us, even when they try to pay. I usually not usually. I'm always paying, but and I don't mind because that's part of my job, and I'm excited about it. Just Joanne, what is your opinion on why NCL canceled their port stops to Nassau and Great Stirrup Key and replacing them with extra sea day at Dominican Republic? Just Joanne, I don't know why. I don't know when the timing was, or there's no telling. A lot of times these decisions don't make a lot of sense. So let's see. Just trying to see if I missed any questions. I feel like I got a lot of these questions. A lot of the questions. How many is anybody cruising this week? What's the countdown? There's my brother Retro Sarge. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, Martha Grant with the endorsement of the Tampa. Judy G Junk Journal says Princess has some good prices out of Galveston. Is Princess going away out there? I mentioned that in the show the other day, and everybody's like, "Oh, I booked Princess," but I feel like aren't they going away in 2026 from Galveston? General Cruise is cruising next week. My brother's installing a bidet. Don't get that on you. June, Alaska. 2 days till cruise day. How about that, Julian? That's nice. Can anybody beat 2 days? Keith, what's going on, buddy? With some hot tip here for the vomit comet. I've heard. Did they just call a plane that or something? I've heard that if you get seasick easily, sit sideways on that Cozumel ferry and it will help. That's a good idea. Tamara's going on the Mardi Gras next week. Question: was your other show only for your Patreon, or did you include the members of your channel? Cruising Chris M, that's just the Patreon show. I'm going to be trying to do a channel member show before the end of the month also. The last time I did a channel member show, I accidentally made it for everybody. So that kind of messed up the September channel member show. But before the end of the month, we're going to have a October channel member show. Best part of the Enchanted Princess, I can tell you the parts I use the most. The cabin I use the most. The the big theater I use the most. The Vista Lounge I use the most. We were at the main dining room every night. The casino, the atrium. What would be the best part? It's all fit for purpose. The atrium was great. We sat around and we chilled there. The Vista Lounge was fun. We hung out with friends. The main dining room is really where we spent a lot of time with everybody on the group, and we did spend a lot of time in the casino. I don't know. Best part, it depends what you like to do. The pool was definitely not the best part on this last cruise. It was cold out there. It was cold. Question, from Paul, did you like the cruise director on Enchanted? Did he do his event on what it was like on board during the pandemic? Yes. Every interaction, or like every show I went to that Alejandro set up, performed at, he was very entertaining. I didn't go to his show though, but people who did go to his show say it was really good. He's definitely a great entertainer. Stephen Graham said that you look. Are you talking to me or are you talking to my wife? He said I look good. That's very kind of you to say. My secret is I drink the blood of babies. I'm just kidding. Boy, I hate to say that out loud. That is a joke that I say a lot, but not everybody's down with that joke. No, I don't know, man. I feel like I look 54. I'm looking old. Look at the bags under my eyes. Old man, my hair's gray. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, man? Susan says the Seattle Express picks you up the Quality Inn at SeaTac, less than $100 a night, and it takes you to the water. Yes, that's like I said, you can really save some money by staying near the hotel or near the airport. But there is a lot to do on the waterfront, which I like. Question: what is the best cruise line from the West Coast to Hawaii? I don't know. So if you have a favorite that's over there, this is my new recommendation. If you're already loyal or you enjoy a cruise line and it's where you want to go, I would try that cruise line. I know that like out of San Diego, Holland America sails over there. I think they go to Hawaii. We've never really done much of that West Coast to Hawaii. But I think most of the major cruise lines are over there. I don't know if in my mind, I can't think of any marketing or any stories or anything that I've read or anything that I've heard anecdotally from people where they went, oh, this is the cruise line you have to take from the West Coast to Hawaii. So I don't know that anybody's specializes in that. So again, I would go with what you already like. Jenny B, thank you. That's all I was really fishing for was the Jenny B compliment. Noel Dad 77 from the Florida Big Bend. What's going on, buddy? Any suggestions for the Mardi Gras? I love your show. I really like Emeril's restaurant there. I think now, of course, it's been a couple years, and I'm not sure what the prices are like. But if you like rice and beans, that was a side they had in Emeril's restaurant that was really a large enough portion that it could be a meal, and I think it was like $3. So yeah, I'm going on the celebration, and I think they have Emeril's on there with Don. Later, I plan on fully having just a side of rice and beans, following it up with some beignets. I would do that. Shaq's Big Chicken's on the Mardi Gras. I would try that. And then I enjoyed all of those shows that were in the center. The thing that's a pain is to get a good seat, you have to wait in advance. And that always kind of annoys me. Like, I hate that I have to line up an hour before a show to see a show that only lasts 45 minutes. But I also like to have a really good seat. I don't have to sit right up front, but I want to be able to see. And so you have to wait in line sometimes. But I would catch those shows in the middle. Also, make sure one thing that's unique about the XL class on Carnival is they have included food at the Java Blue Cafe in the center of the ship. So not only will they have grab and go stuff like sandwiches, that's not true on many of these other Carnival cruise ships, but they'll also have hot food. Like, it's almost like an international cafe except on Carnival. So yeah, make sure you check out Java Blue. Java Blue. Megan, did somebody say that Hawaii wasn't good cruising? I don't know. Yes, the unicorn is Scotland's national animal. I found that out from a Scottish lady right there. Scotland. Question from Cruising Chris M. I heard the accessible transportation is widely available in Seattle area. Do you think that is accurate? Heard that accessible transportation. I don't know. We didn't do anything. Like, I heard that accessible transport, like people that need like for wheelchairs and scooters, that kind of thing, or that there was just a lot of transportation available. I'm unfamiliar with the accessibility part. Question: Eversail and Celebrity Summit? No, we've been on Equinox, Edge, Apex. Are those really the only 3 celebrity ships? I don't know. The Comic-Con's on the Constellation, so that'll be another one. Rodney said, "Are you ready for your Carnival level up to Diamond Marathon?" I think so, Rodney. So I got 5 days on the Freedom. Then I'll be getting 7 on the Celebration, and then we have 4 cruises on Carnival booked. 2 in January, 2 in February. Wheelchairs and scooters. Yeah, I'm unfamiliar, Chris. Anybody that with wheelchairs and scooters in Seattle, did you have? Were you able to do transportation? I mean, there's a train that goes from you can go from the airport down. I'm assuming that would be accessible. Databetic sent 5 gift memberships. How does that work? Oh, okay. Do you pick who gets those, or do people just grab them? That's very nice, Databetic. I'm not sure how that worked, but that's pretty cool. Welcome all new channel members. How was coffee on Enchanted? B Stance says. Jenny B was getting cappuccinos, and I was putting cinnamon and Splenda in them for her. I got a couple iced coffees. Again, I don't know. I didn't drink a lot of coffee on board. I was drinking more Coke Zeros just because the coffee. I don't, iced coffee is a challenge sometimes there. Best private tour guide in Aruba is Douchey Terra Experience. There you go. It's random. That's wild. Going on Majestic in December and January, are there any difference on this ship versus the other Princess ships? I told Jenny this. I need to memorize what classes of ships. What are the Princess classes of ships? Classes of ships. I've been on most of those ships, so it's kind of hard to... Ships. Ships classes Princess. Here's something. Royal class... Well, I need just a good list. Princess classifies its ships into 5 main classes: Sphere, Royal, Grand, Coral, and Sun. Royal Majestic, Royal Enchanted, Sky. Okay, I've been on Sky. I've been on Majestic. I've been on Regal. Those are all great. I just want to say that Enchanted was, I love the layout on the ship that I just came off of. The only thing that's funky is the dining room that we had on deck 6. You couldn't get there directly. Like, you had to go to the aft elevators and take it down, but no big deal. I love the atrium. I love where the International Cafe is on that ship. The theater is good. The Vista Lounge. I like the Princess Live, the way that it's set up, except for private events. But yeah, it's good. So you'll have a good time on Majestic. Doug says the Tragically Hip. Yeah, I ran across Tragically Hip. I I think I was on Apple Music or so. I've listened to it a little bit. That's a good suggestion. And Doug, the interesting thing, of course, I know you're on the west coast of Canada. It was cool when I went to the record shop in St. John, how predominant Canadian artists were, which makes a lot of sense. But it was really cool to see like Anne Murray have a section, which a lot of times you don't see that here. Which was pretty cool. Big Leonard Cohen section, which you don't always see that here. So that was pretty cool. Let's see. I haven't been on Icon. Whoever's talking about Icon, the only Icon class I've been on is Star of the Seas, and I did do a ship tour on that. I also did an embarkation day video. I like that quite a bit. Quite a bit. Gay's when are you on Star Princess, Gay? Is that the one that's going to Alaska that you're going to? Oh yeah, on Majestic they've removed the noodle bar and replaced it with pizza. That's true. Question: what cruise lines would you want to go on that you've not gone on? So I'm really fascinated. I didn't cover it in the show yet, but there's a Cunard ship that I think is going to be doing Caribbean sailings from Miami for the winter. And I haven't even talked to Jenny about it, but we've never been on Cunard, and that might be cool to do. And then as we go up a level, I wouldn't mind going on Oceana. I wouldn't mind going on MSC Explorers journeys. But you know, I'm a mass market kind of guy. I'm completely happy with Carnival, Royal, Norwegian, Princess. So it's a weird. I'm in a weird place. Like I'm enjoying seeing new cruise ships, but and a lot of times I go out, like if Jenny doesn't want to go on a cruise or whatever, I'm just going out as an explorer and a documenter, that kind of thing. And so I've just been enjoying a lot of these experiences where I'm at least with somebody on the cruise. So I think that's more important really for me now than the lines. But it could just be the season that I'm in too. So I'm excited to, going on Star Princess to do the press thing on the 6th. And that'll be cool to hang out with some of my peers that I know. And then we've got the family thing on Star Princess in December, which I think is going to be fantastic. It's always fun to cruise with Steve. And, I don't know. I think we might have some other friends that are going on that. And then we got Comic-Con as a family in, January. So I don't know that the line matters so much, but I am fascinated a little bit about Cunard, so wouldn't mind trying it. Which of those, Davey says, which do you recommend as a first timer? So if you're a first time cruiser, I would definitely go on the map. It depends. Like I don't really know you or what your age is or what you're into, that kind of thing. I would say the bottom brands of the mass market, the Carnival, the Royal, the NCL, the MSC, those are going to be family oriented, kind of good time oriented, kids, that kind of stuff. If you like a little more of a party, I would go on Carnival. If you want something a little more laid back, you might go on Royal. If you want a little rock and roll, you might go on NCL. If you want something completely different, MSC. But if you're somebody that maybe is like super chill, then you want to look at like a Holland, a Princess, maybe a Celebrity. It's hard to say without knowing you, but just depends what you like to do. The nice thing about cruising is there's so many options. I mean, obviously you want to pick a great cruise for yourself the first time you go, because a lot of times if you don't have a good first cruise, you never have a second cruise. So definitely would do some research. And there's a lot of good video. I've never made that video, like what's the difference in the cruise lines, but there's a lot of good videos out there. Yeah, I did, Ron. I said bottom for Royal as in entry level mass market cruising. I think there's probably a travel agent term for it, but traditionally Carnival, Royal, Norwegian, MSC would be grouped together as the level one of cruising. Question: how's your knee? Mediterranean cruise in the future, Rodney? My knee's a little better. So we got turned on to some sort of magic gel that you put on your knee that apparently everybody in the world. My mom told me about it. Then like 20 people on the cruise told us about it, and they loaned us some. Voltaren or I don't know, like Voltron or something like that. Man, it took out some of the pain that I'd had in my knee for a year. I still I was still trying to get my insurance to approve some gel shot or whatever. I think I'm giving up on that. But it still hurts. It still hurts every day, but I'm getting around. People noticed on the video I was limping. But yeah, it is what it is, man. Life's I'm grinning and bearing it. April Bergstrasser. Thank you so kindly for the super chat. Very kind, very kind. Question: what port that you and no plans for the med? We were going to go on Sharon at Sea's group cruise, and I think we're canceling that. I don't know that we're ready to make that big trip in 2026. So we still want to go. Those ports are still on the bucket list, but I don't think we're going. Question from Bill: what port that you haven't been to is on top of my list? Where would I really like to go? I don't know. The wild thing is, I had such a good time in New York. I sat there and I looked at Boston and really couldn't get out into it. I'm almost in the mood to do some U.S. cities that I haven't been to. San Francisco, I think that might be fair. San Francisco always bubbles up to the top of my bucket list of places I've never been to, and that happens to be a cruise port also. There's still a ton of the world to explore, but I've been very fortunate to go to a lot of places. I'm going to say San Francisco. Databetic, do I know you other than these chats? I don't know I don't think I know off the top of my head where you would have booked. Question from Don, music question. Are you familiar with the 90s band Jellyfish? And if so, what are your thoughts, opinion? I am unfamiliar with Jellyfish, but now I'm taking a note to check out Jellyfish. What kind of music is it? I love new music. Notes. Tragically Hip and Jellyfish are now there. Question: besides the NCL main dining, this is from Sparkle Unicorn Squad. Besides the NCL main dining room policy update for the $5 surcharge, do you still feel that NCL is a good experience overall? If you find it, yes. I think all the cruise lines are changing. So I do this podcast on the Cruise Talk Network with my friend Tommy Casabona. It's called the Cruise Talk Weekly. I know because that doesn't get published on the main La Lita Loca channel. Not everybody knows about it, but we had a really great conversation about group cruises and theme cruises that went live yesterday. I'll put a link to that. But part of the conversation we had was about some of these changes, and I feel like we're going through a seismic shift in cruising right now, where every cruise line is resetting the game a little bit. They're making adjustments. Royal not making a lot of big changes, but I feel like right now they're driving the market when it comes to price. And so since they're in the catbird seat when it comes to price, they're not having to make a lot of changes. But overall, here's the thing I said on that podcast. Cruising is such a good value that the cruise lines, in my opinion, know that they can change the offering in a way that is negative, in a way that is different than what we're used to, and it still be the best value in travel. And so that puts the cruise lines in a very interesting position. Now, if you're a new cruiser, you don't notice it at all. But if you're a veteran cruiser, you notice all those changes, and then you do the calculus on it, right? And you still come out and go, well, this is still better than land-based cruise. I hate that these things are changing. I hate that there's no hot dog on the Princess room service menu, which doesn't make any sense. But it's still better than if I got to go and pay for every meal and park and all of that stuff. So I think there's a seismic shift going on right now. Do I think cruising's still the best value for travel? Yeah, I do. It's my favorite way to travel. It hurts me sometimes that these things are changing, but they're changing. So I hope that answers your question. Let me give you guys a link to that podcast. This is a good conversation. Let's see. YouTube Cruise Talk Network. I wish I could just put these podcasts on the main channel, but the problem is if people don't watch them because they're so long form that it'll hurt the viewership of the Daily Show, that kind of stuff, and we don't want that. We don't want that. Like this one's long, but it's a good conversation if you guys want to see it. Get up. I don't think I'm dancing. I'm just my desk. My desk is not cooperating. Why is my desk not cooperating? Okay. Apparently the desk doesn't want to raise up. Something must be stopping it. I wanted to stand up. Let's see. Any idea? So Wolfpack Golf. Any ideas what Carnival will do next week for a cruise schedule to travel to the Dominican Republic? I don't have any idea. What are they supposed to be doing? Like they're putting out a new schedule or something? Mel C, any more Sizzler or other restaurant videos with Steve coming out? Love those videos. Yeah, so I don't know if you saw on the Tony Barnett channel where Steve and I went to Dave's Hot Chicken. See, now it's going to work. Hey, help me, somebody. Wait. Hey. Do the show from down here. Yeah, Steve and I got to do something. Steve and I actually have an idea. Well, I don't want to say the name because then somebody will take the name. This is the thing that annoys me. So I made those Monsters of the Lido shirt, and then somebody immediately copied them on Amazon. So I got to come up with a new strategy for making shirts. So that's the. So I don't want to say the name of the Steve and I show, but Steve and I, we got a show in mind. So, how many ship on a sticks do I have? Who asked that question? I thought I saw that question. Oh, Chad. I don't know. There was a time where every time I went on a Carnival ship, I had to have one. I might have been on 12 Carnival ships. Here in the office, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think I have them all here with me. I think I have my first cruise and maybe my last one. But yeah, I don't know. This is my first one, though. Something's going to fall off the shelf. Carnival Fantasy. That was my first one. Life is just a fantasy. Can you live that fantasy life? Let's see. Any word on the resort in Freeport that Royal purchased? Sam, I just know that they bought it. I don't know when it's supposed to go live, but that should be interesting also. Yeah, don't you love it? Like Carnival pops in with their Freeport Grand Bahama Resort celebration key, and then Royal's like, hey, is that for sale? Let's do that. Ooh, we got another hurricane churning out there. Project Papa Jack. Project Papa Jack. Let's see. Question: do you believe Carnival will offer more level up offers soon? I have no idea what the decision things are doing. Beer Master, you know you want to shout out Ludacris. Changes. Just got here. How do you get the trophies? Trivia or something. So, Aaron, normally, I think I won that with categories or something on the fantasy, but then I realized you could just ask for them, which some purists don't believe that that's the thing you should do. But there was a time where you could go on John Heald's Facebook page and say, hey, I'm cruising on this cruise ship. Can you hook me up? And there was a time where the hookup was, and this is everybody, has nothing to do with who I am. Like just, this is back in the day. And they would just send you a ship on the stick and some strawberries. I don't know if they still do that or not. And I don't really collect them anymore, so I'm not sure. But yeah, most time, like if you can win trivia, the only bad thing about Carnival trivia is, people cheat because you don't have to check. You can check your own answers. So all of a sudden you might be slaying a trivia, and out of nowhere, somebody that looks like they wouldn't know anything about anything all of a sudden has every answer. You're like, questionable. Yeah, Doug, that's a weird thing. I don't have any way to turn it on for Canada. But I will be seeing you soon, so let me know if you want any of those shirts. I'll just get them and bring them to you on the celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. Here I am. Well, so with the t-shirts, the lessons learned, I made those public, and I think just from now on, I'm going to make a t-shirt. I'll just tell you guys about it and put it on our website and stuff like that. still want to use Amazon because the fulfillment is so good. You know, it's easy for people to return it if the size isn't right and comes in 2 days. So good. I got some great designs coming up. Coming up. Scott and Kelly's Adventures, just a fly. Anyone sailing or thinking about sailing on the February 7th Dream Sailing? The dry dock was rescheduled and the cruise is sailing. How about that? All right, Doug, we'll get you, man. We'll get you. You might have to remind me closer to the time, but I'll try to remember. Georgia Davies got one on the Glory for the karaoke contest. What'd you sing? Oh, George, I'm sorry. George, what was your song that won you the ship on the stick? T-shirts, what sizes do you offer? Yes, there's a 5X. Let me grab the link for the T-shirts. Right now, I only have the Monsters of the Lido. These are great for fall, really all year round if you kind of like monsters. Friends with the monsters inside of my head. How do I get there? Amazon merch on demand. Actually, I should go to the influencer page. I'll just drop the link. There's multiple colors and sizes, all of that stuff. Jenny's idea has been the best seller, the Scary Sloth. The Scary Sloth. Friends with the monsters. There you go. Those are the shirts we have right now. Lots of transportation in Seattle. Oh yeah, bulbous bow. We haven't even talked about that enough today. There has been some great comments about bulbous bow, and then I guess I got to append what I was saying. So it's not necessarily for navigation, but the bulbous bow allows for an easier displacement of the water, is what I'm understanding. So it's actually good for fuel efficiency. But I thought, if you had an easier way through the water, it might help with navigation too. But apparently, I was wrong. I've been told that I was tragically wrong. Nobody's ever called me tragically hip, but I was told I was tragically wrong. Let's see. I believe you want either very high or very low and midship to prevent motion sickness. Middle is what we say. If you're trying to avoid seasickness, middle. Not the front. Our very first cruise, we really had no idea what was going on. I think we were the second cabin off of the front of the ship, and we spent the whole cruise just breaking waves. Whoosh, whoosh. We're like on deck 2. Whoosh. A lot of movement, but it was good. Tragically knee. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Question, what is your game of choice while playing in the casino? Man, I played craps for 20 years, and then I got tired of craps not being available during the day on a cruise ship, so I memorized basic strategy and blackjack, and I've been playing blackjack ever since. So on this last cruise, that's all I played was blackjack, no slots or anything. Man, I played blackjack a lot, and I still only got 2,500 points, but that's the way it goes. Jenny did enough on the slots to get us a free cruise. I got a free cruise too, though, to be fair. What did I get? Jenny got a free interior, and what'd you get? $450 or $600 free play, and I got a interior with $100 free play. It was good. I didn't really lose hardly anything on this cruise. I didn't really win much either, but ended up with a free cruise, which is nice. I do like the motion. Like, we had some rough seas on this ship. And so the first thing you have to do is make sure you push all the clothes hangers next to the wall so they don't bang around all night. And then you got to get into the flow of sleeping as the whole thing's rocking. It's good, though. I do like the movement at night, too. The movement. Now I'm curious as to how high the desk will go to make my head. Oh, I'm into one of the lights over here, though. 50 inches, is that it? I think I'm maxed out. 50 inches. Now I'm on my tiptoes. 50 inches. Friends with the monster. Michelle got a free balcony drinks and 1,500 for the Star Princess. Man, you balling over there, Michelle. How much you gambling? That's a lot of coin. Yeah, we're fairly lucky too that we don't get motion sickness, which is nice. Yeah, Greg, I was very happy. I was very happy with that outcome. I had an insane winning streak on the Freedom. Like I couldn't lose on that ship, so it was nice because it really beefed up my gambling bankroll. And like when your bankroll beefs up, you can get a little more aggressive. So I had a pretty fun aggressive time on this Enchanted Princess. I did not have Tim Hortons in Canada. I almost did. I think I was close to it in St. John. I've had Timmy's coffee before, but I was. You know what? I really wanted to have a second time. I really wanted to get another beaver tail in Halifax after the one I had in St. John. But I've been doing pretty good. Been losing some weight, so I'm trying not to overeat the sugar. No Timmy's for me. Favorite show that I've seen on ships, Paul asked. I tell you what, I've seen a lot of good shows. Cats still remains one of my favorites, but I do love this rock opera show on Princess. Basically, it's a electrified. I mean, Princess has live musicians, and the rock opera is almost like I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of a. I guess it's a little operatic, but with rock and roll songs. But the cool thing is they either have a guest tenor or a guest soprano, and depending which one they have, the show will change. And so we had a guest tenor this time, and so you get a couple. They do the Queen song. That's a great show for kind of a nondescript show. The Rumor show on the NCL ship was pretty amazing. I've seen a lot of good shows. Question: larger ship, not too expensive, that would still interest kids, 3 kids, 10 and under, while not risk getting motion sickness. Man, if you can get on one of like Oasis of the Seas, I mean, Royal's pretty expensive right now, but if I had kids that were that age and I was looking for some fun ship, I would go on Oasis of the Seas. I just think those ships are great, honestly. Yeah, Aaron, I haven't seen that one yet. The Wizard of Oz on Icon. I heard that's really good. Question from Scott: did you talk to the pit boss prior to gambling to stay on their radar? On the Freedom, on Carnival Freedom, the manager knew me, so that was nice. I talked to them, but I didn't really talk to anybody on this one. I did play enough to where they gave me $150 shopping spree. That was the first time I talked to a casino host. It might have been the night before the end of the cruise. He came over and introduced himself and gave me a certificate to spend $150 at the shops. But that was probably my only interaction. That is the thing to do, honestly. Like especially if you're a table player, if you really want to get on the radar of those guys, and that's what they're there for. The casino host, make sure you go introduce yourself to the casino host. If you're just playing slots, most of the points and all that stuff gets taken care of through the machine. But if you're gambling at a high level and you have a lot of points, it's worth going to the casino host and just saying, "Hey, do you have any comps or anything like that?" Question: have you ever stayed in an aft balcony? Do you like it? I feel like maybe close to an aft balcony. It depends. I mean, I love the view off the side of the ship, looking out into the ocean that way. Of course, the aft, you're just going to watch the back, right? I don't know if I'm sure there's going to be people that love the aft balcony. I don't think that would be my favorite view, though. I just don't think I would like watching behind me the whole time. A lot of times those balconies are nice and big, though. But there's vibration back there too, I've heard. Question from Mary: is there any cruise insurance that would let you cancel for any reason? Yes. So I'm not an insurance expert, so take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I will not be held liable for poor insurance mistakes. Now that that disclaimer is out of the way, there's a couple kinds of insurance. It's more expensive, but you can purchase cancel at any time insurance. Most of the time, you have to purchase that almost immediately. And you got to check whether pre-existing conditions and all that are covered. But yes, there certainly is cancel at any time insurance. It's pricey. Question: Have I met Chris Wong, ex Royal Caribbean casino host? Yes, I met him when he was a casino host. I actually did a video where I interviewed him. It's on the channel from a few years ago, under one of the casino videos. Chris is a nice guy. I'm excited to watch. It's he's basically given up working on the ship to be a full time YouTuber. So I can't wait to see how that turns out. Carol, it's good to see you. It was nice to meet you on the cruise. What's your favorite ship? I think I'm still gonna say Oasis of the Seas. It's still, that was maybe our. It was inside the first 10 cruises we ever did, but it really blew my mind. Because it was so different than what I'd experienced so far. And I would still say that the Oasis class and the Icon class are, of course, World America has borrowed. I got to give MSC kudos because I think they looked at a lot of the cruise lines and took the best off of a lot of cruise lines and poured that into MSC World America. So MSC World America almost feels like a Oasis class ship, in my opinion. But there's something different and special about Oasis and the Icon class that make those my favorite. I think Oasis is still my favorite over even Star of the Seas. Star of the Seas. Wow. Okay, this hour went quick. I'm going to go home and be with my bride. Thank you guys so much for coming, and thanks for all of the great questions. Appreciate you guys being here. If I didn't get to your question, leave a comment. I'll try to answer the comment later. But thanks for watching. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.